Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first post-game video of the 2020 season. And we're starting out on a good note this year. Seahawks win 38-25. They go into Atlanta, get the victory, take a big fourth quarter lead, and preserve it. And for the most part, I think all Seahawks fans can be happy today. We saw a lot of positive things out there, not completely positive, but we played a complete game of football against a team that I think is going to be at least decent this year. So I think we have a lot to feel good about. So this game, let's start with the offense because the offense was probably the side of the ball that I was most encouraged about today. There were very few issues that I had with this offense. Wilson was on point, my God. One of Wilson's best games. He had as many touchdowns as he had incompletions, and two of those incompletions were bouncing off of DK Metcalf's hands, and that guy needs to figure out that hand issue, but we'll get to DK in a second here. Uh, absolute money game from Wilson, and if you were worried about these first few games being sloppy because of the lack of preseason games, doesn't look like you're going to have to worry about that because, I mean, for God's sakes, all four of his incomplete passes were on passes to Metcalf. Two were dropped. One was, I think, basically thrown away. Just an incredible game if you look at what he was doing on his targets. Lockett, 8 for 8. Carson, 6 for 6. Moore, 3 for 3. Olsen, 4 for 4. It's just it's just really incredible. And you're going to see other QBs out there have similar games because of the way the NFL has moved in recent years. I think Gardner Minshew in Jacksonville today actually went like 19 of 20 or something like that. But still, for him to be this accurate and also this explosive, it's truly fantastic what we're watching here. And he was obviously the star of the game. And the best part about this game was how we never took the ball out of his hands. It's not like we scored every possession. It wasn't perfect. It's not really ever going to be perfect outside of the occasional game over the course of a 2-decade-long career. You are going to have three and outs, which we had a couple of today. You are going to have bad possessions. You are going to have bad play calls, but for the most part, we never took the ball out of his hands. He threw the ball 35 times today. We had 20 running plays, and if you count the sacks, and if you count the designed passing plays that turned into QB scrambles, we passed the ball twice as much as we ran the ball today, and that was with a lead basically the whole game. We were playing from ahead pretty much that whole game, especially in the second half. And even when we got the ball up 2 scores late in the game, we were still throwing the ball. And good thing we did too, because Atlanta made a push at the end there. They scored 2 late touchdowns. Could have clawed back into this game if we didn't keep our foot on the pedal and get those last couple of scores. So I give it up to Wilson. I give it up to this coaching staff. The running game never really took root today. Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson only got 13 combined carries. Homer got 3. That's a very, very, very small share of the offense, especially given we were ahead the whole game. And this is the stuff I like to see. If you want to put the game away in the second half with runs, then that's something I understand. But if the run is not there, and today you can reasonably say the run was not really there. If you take away Wilson's 28-yard run, there was really no running game to speak of in terms of plowing away for 6 yards a pop like we might be used to. So we stayed away from it. We stayed with what worked, and what worked was beautiful. And that's the focal point of this video right now. This offense stayed with what worked. They stayed with throws to Lockett. Beautiful game from Lockett, 92 yards, 8 for 8, the ultimate inefficiency. Chris Carson abused him in the screen game, and he, I think for the first time in his career, had 2 receiving touchdowns in a game. And he shows that he can be a dangerous receiver out of the backfield. So last year, the Seahawks started the season looking like they were going to use running back dump-offs and screens a lot, and as the season went on, we got away from it. Maybe this is the year we commit ourselves to it. David Moore chipping in a little bit. He had a big third down catch on the final touchdown drive that ended in the Hyde touchdown, so that was clutch. Greg Olsen, great touchdown grab from him. I liked what I saw from him in the first game. Great stuff from this offense. The only thing that made my antenna go up was the 3rd and 4 in the third quarter, and we called a pitch play to Travis Homer. That's the stuff I don't like. That's the stuff I can't abide by. 3rd and 4, pitch play to Travis Homer. He lost a yard. Why? You've got a QB playing one of the best games of his career. Why are you pitching it to Travis Homer? But we had a plan. And I give the offense credit for this. The offense had a plan. They went out there on 4th down. There was no hesitation. There was no discussion. They just went for it. They hit DK over the top for the 40-yard touchdown. And at that point, I felt comfortable with this game. And I think a lot of Seahawks fans felt comfortable with this game. So even there, even with that bad play call, and I'm going to call it a bad play call, even with that, we were still able to produce on that drive because we had a plan. And that's what I want. I want this team to just have a plan in those situations. Now, as the offensive line goes, I can't say the same for them necessarily. Dwayne Brown seems solid. I didn't see anything too bad from Ethan Posick, but everybody else, Upati got hurt for a couple plays, picked up maybe 2 penalties, I think. Damian Lewis, it's his first game. I'm not down on the dude. I'm not ragging on him, but he did have a couple penalties today, and he got his welcome to the NFL moment courtesy of Grady Jarrett more than once. Grady Jarrett had a good game today. Brandon Shell, I don't want to say he looked worse than Ifedi, but not a good game from him. If Ifedi had that game, we would be roasting Ifedi. We would be throwing stuff across the room about Ifedi. So I have to say, Brandon Shell, not impressive in his first game at all. Wilson got hit 10 times in this game. I'm sure he got pressured many times more than that. And he was able to get away from some of those pressures because he's Russell Wilson and that's what he does. Only 3 sacks. I'm not going to get mad about a game in which my QB gets sacked 3 times, especially when one of those sacks was him holding onto the ball way too long, one of the few blemishes in this game. But this offensive line, they have work to do, not surprising, but if you looked at our offensive line compared to the Falcons' offensive line, they just seem to be a little bit more ahead of things. And as this game went into the early third and even the second or late second, I was a little concerned that that was going to catch up to us. Fortunately, it didn't. Shout out to Wilson for making it not matter, but their offensive line in pass blocking was clearly a couple notches ahead of where ours is right now. And I need to see them take some steps forward in the next few games. Hopefully by mid-season, they're playing a little better than this at least. I'm not expecting greatness. I'm not expecting perfection. I'm expecting a little better than that. So, defense. 500 yards of offense allowed by Atlanta. And somehow, some way, we're winning this game running away because a lot of yards were trash time or pseudo trash time. But more importantly than that, we did clamp down on some key plays. If you want to know why this game went the way it went, I think a big piece of it is they went 0 for 4 on 4th down. We went 1 for 1 on 4th down. And basically, I'm not gonna call anybody out too much. I will say there were definitely some players on this defense that I felt like were struggling out there, but they are the players that I knew were going to have a tough time today. Shaquille Griffin did not play well. He did not really have a good play today until he tipped away that Hayden Hurst pass in the 4th quarter that eventually forced a 4th down turnover. Trey Flowers, I thought, was getting beat up out there. There were a couple other defensive players I could call out. Delano Hill had one good tackle on Hayden Hurst, but then the very next drive he gave up the 40-yarder to Julio. But if we're being real, these Atlanta skill position players are a different breed. Julio's special, Calvin Ridley's special. This offense is explosive, especially in Atlanta. And I believe that at the end of the day, you're going to take the good with the bad when you're playing this offense. And the good was we got off the field on 4th down 4 times. We had a sack on 4th down. Benson Mayowa, awesome play, by the way. We had a pass deflection at the line on 4th down. Another awesome play by Benson Mayowa. Marquise Blair forced a fumble on a fake punt that the Falcons had converted. So he did not make his imprint. He did not have a footprint in this game on defense, but he did make his presence felt on special teams. I love it. Bobby Wagner, I thought, played an awesome game. He had a tackle for loss. He had 2 pass breakups, 7 tackles. He looked like a much better player than he was last year. I'll be keeping an eye on him. I will be talking more about him as the week goes on. Bruce Irvin had 2 QB hits. Now, look, the pass rush, it's not there yet. It's not all the way there yet, but we are seeing signs of life from a few players, and I want to give a shout out to Demontre Moore. I'm sorry. Yeah, Demontre Moore, who had a QB hit today, and LJ Collier, who had 2 pressures, guys. 2 pressures in one game from LJ Collier. Let's give him a standing ovation. I give LJ Collier my standing ovation for that one. But of all the players on this defense, the #1 guy that really needs to be singled out for praise is the man we just got, Jamal Adams. He had a monster game today. He was everywhere. He did kind of take out Shaquille Griffin on a free touchdown for Atlanta, essentially, but 12 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. So at least I would say 4 QB pressures for Jamal Adams today. He was a absolute monster out there, and we may not win this game without him. I thought he was awesome. You can see that this defense has an understanding of how to use him, which is something that me and many others were concerned about when we traded for him. Are we going to use him the right way? And holy hell, did we ever. So that's the most exciting thing from this defense. The corners, like I said, played a little weak today. All of them gave up big plays in the passing game, but I'm not going to be tripping on that. Lano Hill gave up a big play in the passing game, but I get it. You know, Julio, special player. He's going to get his no matter what you do. So obviously, things need to get better on that end. The pass rush on many plays today was weak, and when we tried to send blitzes against Atlanta, a lot of them got swallowed up. A lot of our blitzes got swallowed up and left our secondary susceptible, and Matt Ryan took advantage. So in another game, in a future game, that can come back to hurt us, but today they made plays when it mattered the most. That is all I was looking for in this game, and I got that. So game ball obviously goes to Russell Wilson. He's the offensive MVP, the overall MVP, defensive MVP Jamal Adams. I feel like that's pretty obvious. I feel like nobody can really contest Wilson and Adams being our 2 best players today. And a few days after we lost our special teams coach for unknown reasons, we won the special teams battle. We made all of our kicks. Atlanta missed an extra point, which ended up kind of haunting them a little later. We had good punts. Michael Dixon had a great second quarter. We had 1 good punt return by David Moore and 1 decent kick return by Travis Homer. And maybe the biggest win of all, Tyler Lockett's not returning kicks anymore, guys. We got Homer and we got Moore doing it, which is what I kind of wanted all along. And I didn't think we were going to have it already, but we do. So, very nice game. Seahawks win 38-25 once again. Some tremendous play by a lot of players on this team. There are concerns, but they are the concerns that I knew we were going to have. This is a work in progress. This defense gave up 500 yards today. Defense is a work in progress. That's just the way it is. Offense stayed on point. Even when we were 3rd and 23, we had 3rd and 23 on our first drive. We did not just call a run play up the gut to give up. We didn't. We went for it. We threw it down the field. I love it. We actually tried to convert, and we picked up a PI. I don't think it was a PI. I honestly think that was a crap call on the Falcons' defensive back. I'm just going to be real with you. There were crap calls against the Seahawks later in this game, too, so I'm not even saying that it had a huge impact on the outcome of the game, but the fact that we tried meant so much to me and made me so happy as a fan. Even if it hadn't have worked, I would have been happy to see that. All right. I'm going to upload this video. I'm going to let it sit up a little bit. I'm going to go live for the end of the late games. We have Saints, Bucks. I know that. We have, I think, the Niners, Cardinals. We have Bengals, Chargers. So we can watch the end of those games together. See you there. Go Hawks. Good way to start the season. 1-0, baby. 1-0.